Yeah, the last topic I got is a little women's basketball. Obviously, Caitlin Clark. She's a comment. She's a superstar. Um, it, could
Yep.
is she the goat of women's basketball already?
No, hell no. Not even close. That to me, that's a disrespectful question to even ask. How you like we can't
Jeez.
unless we're changing the criteria for what GOAT is, like no, you can't be a GOAT and not have championship. She's amazing though, like amazing to watch. Probably if you're talking about just um the most electric women's basketball player, that probably she's a catalyst for women's basketball. I would say similar to how like Magic and MJ from I wasn't alive, but just going back and reading and hearing, like I believe she can be a catalyst for women's basketball in the way that like MJ was, just because she's
Yeah.
so tantalizing and exciting. But GOAT, no, like what are we talking about? Like no, how the GOAT of women's basketball? She hasn't even stepped on the floor in the WNBA. She won no championships. Brianna Stewart was a four-time champion, four-time MOP. Like hell no. What are we talking about?
You want me to explain?
Yeah, you can. I've heard your explanation, but you can explain.
Wait, what was my explanation? I
I
didn't
know
even
what it's
talk
gonna
about
be,
this
but
yet.
go. I know it is. Go ahead. Go ahead. I know. Go ahead.
Who's your goat, MJ or LeBron?
Oh man. Um, I don't even like this conversation. I grew up, I'm born in 1989. I grew up watching, I was 13, 14, watching LeBron in Sacramento first game. And I was like 9 watching LeBron or watching MJ in Utah. So it's LeBron. And the reasons for that are just a simple fact that I grew up in LeBron's era. It's if you say MJ, I'm not going to argue with you. They're both champions. They're both the best players of their era. And, it is what that's where I leave it.
I guess maybe GOAT could be misleading, but where I'm going with this is so the ratings when Michael Jordan was in the NBA Finals in 1998 was 35 million. It
Mhm.
has the if you, I mean the if you just look at the graph over the years in the LeBron James era ratings, he's never outrated MJ ever. He never outrated MJ ever, and the ratings are really bad now. And what I'm saying about Caitlin Clark, maybe not is she the most decorated, so therefore she's the GOAT? No. What I'm saying is the fact that she has transcended the sport, where I'll be the first to admit I have not watched any WNBA basketball ever. I'm going to watch WNBA basketball next year. I've never watched women's college basketball ever. I watched it because of her. I know probably 10, 15. I'm not saying, oh, look at me, I know so many, but I probably know 10 women's basketball players because I know who she is. So I'm saying by captivating the sport, in the way that she is and bringing eyeballs to the sport, um, that in that sense, that's where I'm saying the GOAT, just because she's transcended it, like Michael Jordan, like Tiger Woods, like that's what she's doing right now with women's basketball. So that's I look at Tiger Woods as the GOAT. I look at MJ, and I have to give a nod to Larry Bird and Magic Johnson as well. They were massive. But I'm just talking about captivating, transcending the sport. That alone, like if there's obviously been a lot of great WNBA players over the years, but no one's transcended the sport anything like Caitlin Clark. So that's where I'm going by calling her the GOAT. The fact that I want to go get a Caitlin Clark jersey. Like I love her. Like it sucks that she's dating Connor McCaffrey. That guy's a douchebag. One of my least favorite college basketball players of all time. But man, I love Caitlin. She's so fun to watch, and I had a blast watching the other teams as well in the tournament. But I wouldn't know who all these other people are if it weren't for her. And the WNBA has a chance to, become a viable business, just talking numbers, potentially because of Caitlin Clark. So that's where I'm going with, could she be the GOAT? I'm just saying transcending sports like a Michael Jordan, like a Tiger Woods.
That's I hear you. I think that's super disingenuous to people who have followed the sport. I think I think there's a book called Outliers that kind of talks about Michael Jordan and how the timing of the NBA, the timing of Nike, it was
Yeah.
going to be somebody, and Mike stepped into those shoes. It doesn't take away from Mike's greatness. It doesn't take away from what he did. but it was also primed for that to happen. The timing. There's more. It's more that goes into that stuff. Like you're talking about ratings. There's more that goes into it than just Michael Jordan. The ratings weren't high just because of Michael Jordan. He played a big role in that. But the NBA, like the WNBA in the 80s, 70s, 80s, was a questionable business. It had questionable ratings. There was an influx of money that came into it. There was an influx of stars that came into it. There's an influx of marketing dollars that came into it. Then you had a company like Nike that was a startup. And if Magic Johnson would have taken that Nike deal, like is teased in the movie, in the book, and Shoe Dog, things like that, maybe it's Magic Johnson who becomes the ratings king. Maybe they. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is I'm not going to say just because you push the sport forward. I don't. For me, that doesn't make you the GOAT. That makes you a catalyst. It makes you extremely important. And obviously, Caitlin Clark is going to do that. Someone like myself, I watched women's college basketball since I was a kid. I was a Diana Taurasi fan. I dated a girl who played in the WNBA. I was in the WNBA bubble. So to see people like Shamika Holesclaw, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, et cetera, and then to call someone else the GOAT of that sport just because she started making everybody watch it when this, I guess, thunderstorm or lightning storm that is the becoming women's basketball didn't just start yesterday with Caitlin Clark. It's kind of climaxing now. She's taking it and she's riding the wave and she's taking the wave higher. But this has been the ratings in the WNBA have been growing and growing and growing and growing because the interest and the money that have been put into it has been growing and growing and growing and growing, in part because of people like Kelsey Plum, because of Maya Moore, because of Breanna Stewart, because of Asia Wilson. So to say she's the GOAT is
I didn't
crazy
say
to
that.
me.
I was a
To
question.
say no, yeah. No, I didn't say. I'm saying, but to say she's the GOAT is crazy to me. Like that shouldn't even be a conversation. But to acknowledge her, how great she is and how exciting she is, yeah, that's a no brainer. It's
Yeah,
not a question.
yeah,
And that
but
she could
she's
take the WNBA to new heights for sure. Like, but could she also, like, who knows? We'll see what she does. And we'll see. It's gonna be. I've always thought it's gonna be interesting because if she doesn't succeed the way in the WNBA, the way that people expect her to, I wonder what that will do to the WNBA at the same
jeez.
time.
All I gotta say is, I'm just looking for some friendly debate. I heard two words: a
Mhm.
disrespectful question and disingenuous.
No,
Come on, Jordan. Come on.
no,
What?
that's it. That's it. That is a. I said I had this debate with my friend Irv Walker. He played at Florida when I was played overseas, and he was trying to say Caitlin was the GOAT, and I was like, that's ridiculous. That's like damn near saying like, oh, Zion was the GOAT when the ratings were peaking. Everybody was saying like it's just crazy. Like what do we it would have been say like no one would have said Michael Jordan was the GOAT when he was coming out of North Carolina. That's crazy. That's nuts. No one said LeBron was the GOAT when he was, going to the cat. That's nuts. That's a nutty conversation to have.
Yeah. Here's where you said that she is riding the wave, and you know what? Respect to you.
She's
I
taking the
actually
wave higher. Yeah.
Okay. So I say a lot of respect to you, Jordan, because I think a lot of people are hypocrites. I think a lot of people are saying, oh, why are they not making more money? Well, it's actually your fault because you're saying they should make more money, but you're not watching the games. You're not buying the women WNBA season pass. You're not, you don't have season tickets. You're not watching the games. You're not trying to get others to watch the games with you. And then you're complaining about the fact that they're not making money. I if there's more people like you, the WNBA would be making more money and they would be able to pay their players more. But that's there's not a lot of people like you who truly have done that. And that's where I don't think there is a wave, right? I think, in my opinion, she created the wave. I don't see that as a wave that was established beforehand because the WNBA has been around for 25 years and it's never turned a profit. It's never turned a
The
profit.
the NBA didn't
And
turn a profit after 25 years.
is that so? That's a
the
fair point.
the
No,
NBA
that's a
the NBA
well.
was
This is
like
modern.
mad. the NBA was, I mean,
I mean, we're
okay,
talking
but
like
the
1920s and 30s where they were also milkmen and
1930s. No, the NBA started in 1946, 1948, something like that. So
okay,
25 years in would have been in the
1950
70s.
where you have
If
the
you go if you
plumbers
go
and
to
the
the if you go to the 70s, if you go to the 70s, the NBA didn't even have a collective bargaining agreement at the same time. 25 years in, the NBA had no collective bargaining agreement. There was antitrust lawsuits. Have you ever heard of guys like Junior Bridgman, Oscar Robinson, or the Big O? The reason he's not as celebrated as he is because he damn near got blackballed by the NBA because he took part in antitrust lawsuits because there was no free agency. There's things like that. Now you have to go fact check because I'm not 100% sure on the details of all this, but I know for certain there was no CBA. So the WNBA in terms of business structure is much further along 25 years in than the NBA was. The NBA had drug problems. It was ratings wise, the NBA was maybe like
it
eighth or
was,
ninth, that people were watching golf. The NBA finals in 1980 in the 1980s was on tape delay. It wasn't even on live TV. So this is 20 some 30 some years into the existence of the league. Now the WNBA has been the ratings have been going up and up and up and up. It's up 20, I think, believe 27% since 2022. So to say Caitlin Clark made the wave is, again, that's just factually incorrect. There's been a slow wave. It's not a monstrous wave. And she is, again, she's riding it, she's taking it to new heights. But to say the WNBA hasn't been growing is just, that's just factually incorrect.